Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to be doing the two examples for projects that I gave you guys last week. We're going to be working on them again this week. We're going to make sure we finish them up. So I'm going to start off with 3A. This is, again, the project 3A that I gave you guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my orthographics first. You do not have to do this twice. Again, disclaimer, you do not have to do this twice, okay? So I'm going to bring up, sorry, I just closed it out. There we go. All right. So as we know here, our height is 2.5 inches right here. Our width is 4.5 inches. And our depth is 3 inches. So 2.5, 4.5, 3.0. I believe I told you guys to use a space of 2 inches. So we're going to make sure we're going to do that, okay? So I'm not going to go over how I got my layer properties because they're already listed right here. We should already know how to do that. So I'm going to start off with my X line. I'm going to start off right here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to delete this actually. Construction layer property. X line. Let me turn on ortho. All right, so I got my two layer properties set, right? Now, I'm going to start off with my vertical line. I'm going to offset that. So, vertical line goes to the right by the height, space, and depth. Okay? So, again, width, space, and depth. Width, space, and depth. So, 4.5. My space is going to be 2 inches. My depth is 3 inches. Now, I'm going to go up. My height, 2.5. My space, 2. And my depth, 3. Okay? So, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my X line again. I want to get that 45-degree line of projection. I'm going to trim. There we go. All right. So now I have my 9 boxes, right? So now I go into my object layer property. I'm going to highlight my top left-hand box because, again, that's my top view. My bottom left-hand box, that is my front view. And then my bottom right-hand box, that is my right or side view. Okay. Now, a lot of y'all do not like to offset. I highly recommend offsetting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize my screen a little bit. I usually don't like doing this, but I'm going to do it so like that we can see what we're offsetting. Now I'm also going to zoom in right here. Okay. Boom. All right. So I highly recommend that you guys offset your circle first so you know where your center point is. Okay. So to do that, we see my circle is 2.67 inches away from this edge right here. So I'm going to offset this line right here by 2.67. Now, I'm going to offset this again by the radius. Again, the radius is half of the diameter. So the diameter is 0.75, the radius is 0.375. I'm going to do that to both sides because we want to basically create a square. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish up the circle. I'm going to take the horizontal lines. That is 1.5 over. And then this is 0.375. 375. Okay. So we know here, this is where our circle is at. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make sure we get the circle out the way. I go to center diameter. I type in 0.75. There we go. We know our circle is there. Now, next up, I'm going to continue to move over the vertical lines, offset the vertical lines. So I know this thickness right here for this wall is 0.75. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset by 0.75. I'm going to draw that line. Remember, that line is a change of depth. We had to make sure we put it there, okay? Let's see what other lines I can do vertically. Also, I'm going to move this line over by 1 inch. That's a change of depth. I'm not going to highlight that line just yet because we have to make sure we put these first for the horizontal lines. So I think that's all set. Yeah, I think that's all set for the top view for the vertical lines. Now let's move over to the horizontal lines. This line right here is 2 inches away from the edge. We have to make sure we put it for the change of depth. So I'm typing 2. I'm going to highlight that. I usually like to do my offsets first and then highlight everything, but to save you guys from the confusion, I want to make sure that I highlight every line that I'm doing. Now, this line we know is 0.50, so then that means this is 0.50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this 0.5. I'm going to offset this by 0.5. Now, as we can see here, I can create that little box that we have, that little opening. Now I'm going to trim. I'm just going to take off my construction layer properties real quick. Trim this up right here. Turn my construction layers on back again. And we're all set, okay? So, yep, we're all set for this. Now let's move over to our front view, okay? So our front view, as we know, has these lines that are projected. Now, this line right here, which is going to be basically this line, we know it has to go down a bit, but there's a thickness right here. So that thickness is 0.75. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this horizontal line by 0.75. Okay. Now, I'm going to go right here to here to right there. Okay. I created an L shape. Now, I have to make sure that I offset this line again, or I'm sorry, offset this line by 1 so we can get that change of depth. This right here, this angle right here. So that's that. Now, we're not quite done just yet. We have to make sure we do our hidden lines, center lines. Hidden lines, center lines. But I'm going to save that for the end. I'm going to turn off my construction layer properties and I'm going to trim real quick. Again, we're going to save our center lines, hidden lines, and dimensions for the end, okay? Now, I'm going to create this one right here. So if we're looking at it from the top view, right? I'm sorry, from the right or side view. I'm going to offset this line right here by 2. That's going to be our change of depth, right? I already have this line here from 1 because of this change of depth. Now I can just draw the angular line from this intersection point to this intersection point, okay? I also have to highlight this right here because we have the 0.75 inch thickness. Now, we also have to make sure we get our circle. So again, our circle is going to be 1.5 inches away from the edge. Okay? Then I'll offset this by 0.375. And I'll offset this by 0.375. Okay? I have my center line. I also have my hidden lines as well. Now, we're not done because we got to make these parts right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset by 0.5 each side. So 0.5 and then 0.5. Now, I'm going to trace that line out. All right, boom. So we got this right here. I'm going to turn off my construction layer property, and I am going to trim. Okay. Don't have to trim anything else. All right, cool. So, turning my construction layer property back on. I'm going to start out with my hidden lines, okay? I think hidden lines are the best lines to do first because you can't really create a center line off of a construction line because these are very long. So I'm going to draw this hidden line right here, this hidden line right here, this hidden line here, this hidden line here. I don't need any hidden lines for this, okay? Now, I'm going to go over to my center lines. I'm going to annotate center line right here. Boom, creates that. Boom, creates that. Now, if your center lines do not look like this, right? They don't have no dashes. You have to type in a command. So the command is LTS, line type scale. What I did was at first it was at 1, I changed it to 0.5, and it made it like this. So let me type it in again. Put in 1. So you see how I have a straight line right here? All you gotta do is LTS, enter, 0.5. And you got your dashed lines right there, okay? Now we have to do our center mark for this. Now, if you thought we were finished, you are wrong. Excuse me. We have to do our dimensions. When it comes to dimensions, I like to do my height, width, and depth first, okay? So I'm gonna go to linear. Remember, we're in 2D, so we can do linear. I'm gonna do my width. My width is 4.5. My depth is 3. Do that a little this way. My height, I'm gonna do my height on my front layer property is 2.5, okay? Now everything else we really just have to dimension. So we're gonna kind of copy this a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna go here, 0.75, I'm gonna move that right in the middle. Right? What else can I do on this side? I can do my circle. Go from this edge right here to this edge right here, 2.67. Okay. I can go from this right here to this right here. Sorry. $1.5. Okay. I'm gonna do this portion right here. So that's 2. This portion right here, 0.5. Do this line right here. Now, I would never do something like this because I just don't like how it looks, how it's clashing into the 1.5. So what I recommend you doing is saving that for this one right here. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. I think that's it for now. Let me just double check. So we got 3, we got 2, we got 0.75. We need to change the depth for 1. So that one's going to be right here. I'll put it over here. Change the depth to 1. We got our 2.5. We got our 4.5. We got our 0.5. We got our 2. We have to make sure that we are going in. I forgot a hidden line right here. My apologies. I'm going to put a dimension here. I'm going to put that for 1. So like that, it's 1 inch in. And I think we're all done with dimensions. So what we're going to do is I'm going to breeze through how to do the isometric drawing real quick. I want you guys to get comfortable with creating a bounding box. Remember, a bounding box lets you know that you're within your drawing dimensions. And to do that, I'm going to do it over here. We basically use our height, width, and depth, right? So my height, oh, sorry, I messed up. I have to make sure I'm an ISO draft. So my height is 2.5. My width is 4.5. Height 2.5. Create that rectangle shape side right there. My depth is 3. 4.5. Boom. Finish this up real quick. There we go. So I have a bounding box, and I know now where I have to stay within my drawing. Okay, so I said 5, change the plane. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go up 1.5 across 0.75. I'm going to go down. Hold on, let me make sure that's 0.75 real quick. That looks a little too thick. There we go. All right, I'm going to go down. That's 1.5 minus. So I'm going to go down 0.75 again. 0.75 minus 4.5 is 3.75. Close this right here. Okay. Now I'm going to start working on the sides. Create this rectangle right here. So this rectangle is 0.5. Go go down 0.75, close this off right here. That's that. Now, what I can do is continue to create the base. So this is going to be 1.0, 2, 1, 0.5, change my plane, 0.75, 0.5. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go across or up by 3.75. Finish this line right here. Press F5 again. Change my plane. I'm going to go up right here. This is going to be 2.5 minus 0.75. I feel like doing math at this moment. Minus. Yep, so 1.75. Go across 2. Connect this here. Now I'm going to create a line again. 2. Right here. And then my last line is going to be right here. Now, what I kind of want you guys to do is we got to make sure we get our circle in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset. Let me take off my object layer property. I'm going to offset this line right here. Sorry, copy. I'm going to copy these 2 lines. I'm going to bring them up 0.75. Then I'm going to copy this line right here. I want to bring this over 1.5. Then I want to copy this line right here. Sorry, I want to copy this line right here. This one's going to go up 2.67. Now we got our center point right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here. My diameter is 0.375. So I'm sorry, my radius is 0.375. So I'm going to go up 0.375 over 0.375, 0.375. Sorry. Sorry, I was drawing on my object layer property. Let me change this over to construction. I'm going to go down here, 0.75. Sorry, let me switch over to my construction layer property. All right. 0.75, 0.75, 0.75. Then I close it here. I type in join. I'm going to join these 2 right here. Now I'm going to do my center lines. So I go to annotate, center line. Then I do the same thing over again. Right? Now I'm going to do my circle. I'm going to go over to my object layer property. I'm going to go to axis end. I'm going to click, sorry, you can't see it. I'm going to click ISO circle. I'm going to click the center point right here. You gotta click diameter, type in 0.75. There you go. Right now, I'm missing one line right here. So go 0.75. I'm missing another line right here. So I'm gonna go across. I'm gonna go to about. I'm gonna type in 2. Then we just have to trim. And there we go. We are done with this. What I'm going to do is I like to go over here, highlight everything, and move it. So like that, it's on the corner. You can delete these lines too if you want. We don't really need them anymore. This one as well. And there we go. There's your project, okay?